Global happenings today. We communicate. We analyze global news. Stay tuned.
Hello, beautiful people. Welcome back to our channel. The gang up against Bola Ahmed Tinubu is quite stiff, and I can tell you for free that top politicians from the north are literally telling him to his face, if you think that Bola Ahmed Tinubu will be re-elected come 2027, you definitely don't live in this country called Nigeria. Don't forget, some days back, Kenneth Okonkwo put it to all and sundry that it is not just that less than 1,000 politicians that will vote. It's actually over 60 million Nigerians that will determine their fate. And in all honesty, if they like, they should vote everywhere. It is Nigerians that will decide. But we're also looking at the machineries that will bring in these guys. But let's dive into the news. As also, obedient movement has started in earnest. But let's find out what Nisa El-Rufai is saying. Now, according to the news, the former Kaduna State Governor Nisa El-Rufai has expressed strong reservations about the re-election chances of President Bola Tinubu in the forthcoming 2027 general elections. Speaking in Abuja, El-Rufai openly dismissed the prospect of Tinubu securing a second term, insisting that the political climate and public sentiment in Nigeria have shifted significantly against the ruling party. He linked this change to the mounting dissatisfaction among citizens over current economic conditions and governance performance. El-Rufai, who played a notable role in the political rise of the All Progressive Congress (APC), suggested that the dynamics that once favored the party no longer exist, pointing to a national mood that he believes leans towards change. While interacting with reporters, El-Rufai pointed out that although the APC is experiencing an influx of defectors, this development is not necessarily a sign of political strength or renewed public support. Instead, he argued that many of those joining the party are doing so for personal benefit, including the pursuit of appointment and contracts. He emphasized that these movements are not rooted in genuine support for the party's ideology or leadership. According to him, such political maneuvering might create a false sense of security within the party's leadership, but in reality, the general populace remains dissatisfied and disillusioned. He further reflected on his tenure as governor of Kaduna State, recalling how the APC suffered electoral setbacks even when it controlled the state machinery. El-Rufai noted that these demonstrated the determination of the Nigerian voters to act independently and make choices that reflect their expectations. Rather than being influenced by party loyalty or pressure from political elites, he used the past experience to underline his belief that power no longer lies with party structures or state governors, but with the electorate who are increasingly demanding accountability and change. El-Rufai did not shy away from criticizing both the APC and People's Democratic Party (PDP), labeling them as out of touch with the needs and expectations of the average Nigerian. He maintained that the frustrations of the public have grown to the point where they are no longer willing to settle for traditional political options. According to him, this widespread discontent has created an opening for new political movement or coalition that could potentially unseat the current leadership. He described the mood of the country as one of exhaustion, with the status quo driven by economic hardship, insecurity, and a perceived lack of direction at the federal level. He also made reference to individuals who have defected from one party to another, suggesting that many of them are under scrutiny from anti-graft agencies. El-Rufai questioned the sincerity and credibility of these political actors, implying that their moves and motives are not driven by commitment to public service or reform. He raised concerns about the integrity of such politicians and the implications of this growing influence within the APC. This, he believes, weakens the party's standing in the eyes of voters who are increasingly skeptical of recycled political figures. In terms of electoral prospect, El-Rufai categorically stated that the idea of President Tinubu securing another term in office is unrealistic. He described it as a fantasy, asserting that anyone who believes in such a possibility is disconnected from the realities on the ground. According to him, the hardships faced by many Nigerians under the current administration have eroded any goodwill that might have existed at the beginning of Tinubu's term. He emphasized that no amount of political marketing or alliance building can override the dissatisfaction that has taken root among the populace. The former governor appeared to suggest that the only path forward for the country is a total reset of its political landscape. He called for the emergence of a new coalition that reflects the true aspirations of Nigerians rather than perpetuating the circle of political opportunisms that he believes characterizes the existing parties. Rufai seemed optimistic about the chances of such a coalition emerging, especially in light of what he described as increasing awareness and participation among citizens. He appeared confident that Nigerian voters are ready to embrace political alternative that prioritizes development, equity, and transparency. He said, and I quote him word for word, "Anybody that thinks that it is possible for President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to get re-elected is living in another country, not Nigeria. It is impossible for Bola Tinubu to get re-elected." Under normal circumstances, yes, Rufai is hitting the nail on the head the way it is. If you go, reality or ground or fact check, it's not a case of trying to be politically correct. If you go to the average Nigerian, I'm not talking about the elites that are already having a juicy contract. I'm not talking about the politicians that are enjoying, affiliations here and there. I'm not even talking about the big businessmen whose businesses are booming by virtue of juicy contract they've gotten from the elite. I'm talking about the average Nigerians on the street, over 60 million of them. They will tell you that this government is the worst ever. Everything on the high side. Things that are called luxury, or things that are called basic amenities are now luxury, from energy to security. The insecurity is on the high side. Inflation is super duper high. Exchange rate is something else. Everything seems to be, there seems to be no price control board. Everything, as the saying goes, as it's going up, is never coming down. Or whatever it is the presidency is doing, it's not being felt down. There's no trickle-down effect of some of the changes he's making, if it is good at all. It's not being felt by the average Nigerians on the streets, and hence they will say, if you allow there to be free flow of election, Tinubu will be likely not even. The only people that will probably vote for Tinubu will probably be his family members. Probably because they enjoy one or two things. If they allow INEC to be transparent, but we all know that they will not allow INEC to be transparent. We also know that they will not allow anything to go free and fair. So Nigerians will have to face that harsh reality. It's either they continue in this trajectory or they decide to take their country by themselves and become the INEC of their country by monitoring the vote when the time comes. But let's see how it plays out. Rufai is singing a different song. This is the same Rufai that fought and stood for Tinubu. We all saw what he did. And they threw him under the bus. I guess that's why he's angry. I don't think that he lost Nigeria that much. He was once a governor. And what did he really do for the people of Kaduna? So let's tell ourselves the truth. It's because they threw him under the bus that singing a different song. But whatever the case is, it's actually for the good of Nigerians. Let's put in our comment section. That's going to